What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about some LG phones that you should definitely check out if you still want to buy an LG phone in 2022. These I do have are the Velvet, the V60, and the V50. These are some of my favorite phones to use. And so let's just go ahead and talk about these three phones here. Now, LG does have a few other phones like the GA-X I really like, the standard GA if you want a smaller phone. But I've really actually been using these phones the most, I noticed, because I just really like these phones. Now, out of the bunch here, these phones are pretty cheap now. You can find these phones under 300 bucks very easily. The best deal here is still going to be the LG V60, guys. So if you don't have any of these phones, the V60 is definitely the phone to go with. It's got the strongest processor with the Snapdragon 865, 8 gigs of RAM. It is a very fast and fluid phone here. This phone so far is the only phone that I know that has the 2022 update. I haven't gotten the update on any of my other phones yet. So, you know, that's kind of interesting. What's up, guys? Today I've got some pretty good recommendations for anybody who wants to still buy an LG device in 2022 here. Just to talk about some of the benefits of buying these older flagship phones here. So we got the LG Velvet, the LG V60, and then the LG V50. They all kind of have unique things about them. The first thing is these phones are crazy cheap right now. I mean, you can find any of these phones well below the $300 mark. The V60 is like $250 on eBay. The price just keeps going down on all of these phones, so they're pretty cheap to pick up. So that's definitely one of the things that I absolutely love about these older phones. Also, the second thing I actually really like about these older phones is that they all have headphone jacks, which is really hard to find in like flagship, tier devices. But what's awesome about the V60 and V50 is that these two phones actually have a quad DAC. So if you're somebody that has big expensive headphones and you want the best audio listening experience, then you would definitely pick up these two phones. Honestly, if you just want to use them, I hear a lot of people just say, hey, I just use these phones as an MP3 player. These are great for being a secondary device as an MP3 player for people who really want that high quality audio. I think that's an excellent idea because both of these phones can handle a lot of large files because they both have micro SD support, as well as the Velvet as well too. Also, one really nice thing about the V50 is that this phone, unlike these two phones have a 1080p display. This phone has a beautiful 1440p display. I think really the last that LG has really made, unless you want to count, I'm not sure if the Wing has a 1440p display. But this phone is just beautiful in terms of display quality. It's just really nice. Yes, it does have that kind of notch there that's bigger than the it's just bigger than the V60 and Velvet, but the image quality on here, the icons and everything is super sharp here. So the 1440p resolution is really awesome. And that's not to say that these phones have, bad displays by any means, because honestly, from a distance, these actually look identical. It's just only when you get up close you can kind of notice that 1080p versus 1440p. And also, if you kick up like a nature video on YouTube, you'll notice that a bit more detail on those 1440p displays there. But what's really awesome about the V60 and Velvet is that these two phones actually have dual screen case capability. Now, I tried out the dual screen case. I didn't like it because it made the phone, these are already kind of big and heavy phones, and it just made it even bigger and heavier, right? So if you're somebody that basically wants, two screens, that's essentially what it is, right? Two screens together, basically two phones. If you're an ultimate multitasker, which means you got Instagram, up here, and then you got like YouTube right here. If you're somebody that does extreme like multitasking like that, these phones are going to be great, the Velvet and the V60 here. Now, there is a big difference between the CPUs on these phones. So if we load up Geekbench on these phones here, the gaming performance of the V60 and the LG V50, these are going to be able to get you the best performance. Now, obviously, if I'm a gamer, I'm going with the strongest chipset, the Snapdragon 865 on the on the V60. So if you're a gamer, go with this phone. As you can see, it's just going to give you that great gaming performance for at least 3-4 years, honestly. But the Velvet does have a mid-range chip. It's like an upper tier mid-range chip, and it does fine for just your basic stuff, social media, casual gaming, but it definitely cannot play games at high settings like these two phones can. So just take that into consideration. If you're a gamer, you really want to go for these two phones. But performance-wise, the Velvet is still very smooth. It's able to keep up pretty well here. Let's see if I can get like a little speed test going here to see if we can spot the difference. Open Subway Surf. See if we can spot the difference here. And the V50 actually beat the Velvet there. So you can, as we saw, like the Velvet was kind of noticeably behind. You can kind of tell. You kind of tell it's not like a flagship chip, but it still did a good job keeping up with these phones, honestly. So not a big deal. Let's go ahead and try one more here. It kind of threw me off. I've never seen the V50 beat the V60. Open Instagram. Okay, V60. Okay. Now that's more like it. So what's interesting about these phones is that none of these phones have 60 hertz. So they still scroll very smooth. But the benefit to really the V60 not having that 60 hertz is actually the V60 has crazy good battery life. I rarely have to charge this phone up because I'm such a light user. So it just does a phenomenal job with battery life. I mean, it really is good with standby time as well too. I just absolutely love it. It is just awesome. So battery life, if you're looking for like a LG device with excellent battery life, the V60 is one of the best phones that I've used so far, really, period, because it just does such an excellent job with standby time. I can't stress that enough. Now let's go ahead and talk about design on these phones real quick. I really love the design of the Velvet. Let me get a wipe down for this phone real quick. It is so awesome. And how do we know this phone has such a great design? Look at the Galaxy S22 Ultra. It looks a lot like the LG Velvet, especially the camera design. Yeah, so it's just awesome. Look at that. Look at the back of the phone. I really like this color. It's just that mine has taken so many scratches, but most people are going to throw a case on it, but it's just really hard to film on because it gets so smudgy. The LG V60 is really built like a tank. It's one of the, this is a phone that you'll be scared to drop this on your face. If you're laying in bed texting and you'll be terrified to drop this on your face. This thing feels like it's built like a tank. It is really sturdy, really solid feeling, just excellent. You can tell it's very high quality hardware on the V60. The V50 has one of my favorite designs of all time, really, this and the G8, because it's a completely flat phone, which means that it's super slippery. So you can see it just slips and slides everywhere. Which could be a good, it could be a bad thing, but I really like the design. I still think it looks just really elegant. Just a super elegant looking phone still, even in 2022. Absolutely love it. Now, I prefer the physical fingerprint scanner on these phones. This phone has an in-display one. It works, and the V60 works just like it. It's really not that impressive. It's not like the fastest ones that you can get on the market. The V50 has the physical one on the back. I've always been a fan of the physical one, but I prefer it to be on the home button. That's my favorite spot. But they do work. Oddly enough, they got rid of not Face ID, but Face Unlock on these two phones, but the V50 still has it. So, I just can't stand that, not having both options. But it is what it is. So what else do we need to talk about here? Yeah, I think that these phones are just great. Now, I would go, if I didn't have any of these phones, I would go with the V60 because I really feel like this phone will get the Android 12 update. It got the security patch 2022 update. So if you're like, anxious about updates, the V60 has the best shot because LG did promise all of these phones are actually supposed to get, the updates, but it's just a mess with Android updates. They have to come through carriers, so it just, like, I have phones, my Galaxy phones, that they're getting updates all like different times. One will get, the Android 12 update, and then, I have to wait months before I get it on another device if it's a different carrier. So that's usually why I like to buy phones unlocked. But yeah, so it's just kind of a mess on Android as far as updates. But these phones are awesome. Camera wise, the V60 again is going to take it. I actually would say that the Velvet has a pretty good camera. It's just not as good as the it's just not as good as the V50 and the V60 to me. I just don't think it takes as good photos. I think this camera needs a lot of optimization with software updates, which, I mean, it could. I still haven't got the Android 11 update on this one, so it could have gotten those updates. I just don't know, but the V60 is going to take the best photos. It is just awesome. It takes really great video as well too. It's crystal clear, super clean selfies. Skin tones are awesome. This is an awesome camera as well too, so you can definitely take great photos on this phone. The V50 actually takes images really close to the V50 as well too. Coloring is just it's close but not as good. I noticed with skin tones you can get more vibrant shots on the V50, but all of these do a great job with image quality. But I would say V50, V60, V50, and then the Velvet as far as image quality. The Velvet could get better with updates. But yeah, so if you're thinking about buying these phones, I would definitely go for it. Even if you want to just use it as a secondary device, they're so cheap. You can easily use these as audio devices, especially the V60 and the V50. So be sure to let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.